Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Sai SATCHARITRA, an insight. Episode 191. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan brother telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Devotees, in the previous episode, we heeded that when Shama went to Sri Sai Maharaj seeking permission on behalf of Nilkant for him to leave to his hometown, Sri Sai Baba asserted that, "Shamya, he is also my man. Why do you want to chase him away from here?" He further added, "I have to get a work done by him. Let him stay at the doorsteps of this masjid like a dog and keep guarding it." Subsequently, many things happened in Nulkar's life. In 15 days after the above assertion of Sri Sai Baba, Nulkar's health began to deteriorate. He was highly diabetic and never had any control in his diet. As he had a craving for mangoes, he consumed them a lot, which resulted in severe health conditions. He was bedridden and was even unable to attend to his nature's call. His vision also was affected. Devotees can recall that he already suffered from double vision, which was cured by Sri Sai Maharaj. But now that disease reoccurred and became worse. To make the situation more bad, he got carbuncle, that is, inflamed boil on his buttock. Slowly this began to spread and was many in number. This caused excruciating pain in his body. Nilkant was very much worried to see the suffering of his friend, hence asked if he could intimate the family about his condition. Nulkar's family was in Jalgaon. His wife Janki Bai and 2 sons resided there. In fact, his older son was a medical doctor by named Dr. Vaman Rao and has a clinic at Jalgaon. His second son was Vishwanath Nulkar. Nilkant wanted to send a telegram to Nulkar's family stating his health condition. The mind of Nulkar was ever absorbed in Sri Sai Maharaj. Hence, he said, "I don't want to see anyone other than Sri Sai Maharaj. Hence, please don't intimate them. It's unnecessary trouble for them." Nulkar was not interested to see his own family members, so Nilkant kept quiet. One midnight, Nulkar's condition became extremely serious. He was unable to even move. He called out for Nilkant, who was taking care of him day and night. Nilkant was very alert all the time. Nulkar would sleep on the bed and Nilkant slept on the floor very close to Nulkar so that he would not miss even if he was called in a low tone. Nilkant acted like a professional nurse in taking care of Nulkar. Such a close relationship they had. Nulkar called out for Nilkant. Nilkant immediately got up and asked what he required. Nulkar said, "I need to pass urine, but I am unable to even move. At the same time, I am very embarrassed to ask you to get me the urine pan." This he said with tears in his eyes. Nilkant immediately rose from the bed and said, "Why do you talk like this? We are intimate friends. Leave out your craziness. Don't hesitate. Feel free to ask anything that you want." Saying so, he quickly went and brought the urine pan, helped Nulkar to urinate and emptied it in the restroom and came back. He noticed tears flowing from the eyes of Nulkar as streams of water. He bursted out to Nilkant thus, "Nilkant, do you recall? From the day you came to Shirdi, Sri Sai Maharaj repeatedly told you for 3 days to stay back and serve me. Did you or me ever thought that we would have to experience this situation? See how the words of Sri Sai Baba has come true. You are serving me now. If you had not been here, what would have been my plight? To take care of me, my Guru had drawn you to Shirdi, made you to stay here, not permitting you to even leave to your hometown as I would need your help here." Nulkar's heart was filled with gratitude for Nilkant and at the same time was melting with love and devotion towards the all-knowing Guru Sri Sai Baba, who had meticulously sketched a plan to arrange for a person to take care of his health at Shirdi itself, fulfilling the desire of him to not leave Shirdi. Nilkant was greatly moved listening to the words of his friend. He consoled him saying, "Take rest. Don't strain yourself. Don't get emotional." Nilkant also realized that his friend's health is deteriorating, so he decided to inform Nulkar's family, though Nulkar was not willing to do. Nilkant had no reservations in serving his friend. He never hesitated or felt otherwise in taking care of his friend. He took care of him well until Nulkar's last breath. Nilkant sent a telegram to Nulkar's family. Immediately, his wife Janki Bai and 2 sons, Dr. Vaman Rao and Vishwanath Nulkar, came to Shirdi. Shirdi being a hamlet, it was not easy to get the necessary medications nor any facilities for performing an operation. Dr. Vaman Rao therefore wired to Bombay and got medicines and equipment, operated on the carbuncles and bandaged them. While being treated and dressed used to cause acute and unbearable pain to him, yet he used to bear all that calmly and without any complaints. Except Sai Baba's subject, he did not like any other talk. He had to lie down at one place in the vada, and even for turning his sides he required others' help. But there was not even slightest irritation in him usually seen in a sick person. Nilkant was always present next to Nulkar. He helped Dr. Vaman Rao in dressing the carbuncles as that of an expert nurse. Nulkar's heart was longing for Sri Sai Baba's darshan, but he couldn't move from his place. His mind was never engrossed in Sri Sai Maharaj. This is Ananya Bhakti. He yearned to have the darshan of the Saguna form of Sri Sai Baba. His lips always chanted the mantra instructed by Sri Sai Baba. He considered Sri Sai as his own mother. As a child would long for the presence of the mother, so was Nulkar's plight. Satewada is few yards away from Dwarakamai. It is situated at the back side of it, so one must pass through Satewada to go to Lendibag. It was exactly between Gurusthan and the present Samadhi Mandir. and there was a back door in the Satewada, and devotees staying in Satewada would have Sri Sai Baba's darshan by standing near the back door on his way to Lendibag. Nulkar wished that at least through the back door he must get a glimpse of Sri Sai Maharaj, whereas he is bedridden, so it was very difficult even to see through the back door. As a last resort, he told his son Vaman Rao that please tell Sri Sai Baba that I am yearning for his darshan. Hence, ask him to grant my wish by giving me an opportunity to have a glimpse of his physical form. Vaman Rao went to Dwarakamai and conveyed his father's request to Sri Sai Maharaj. Sri Sai didn't discuss much about this, but said, "Okay, Allah bala karega." Vaman Rao told his father the reply of Sri Sai Baba. Nulkar expected that Sri Sai Maharaj might step into Satewada on his way to Lendibag at least once, enabling him to have his darshan. The following day, Vaman Rao went to Dwarakamai for Sri Sai Baba's darshan. At that juncture, there were no devotees, but many children were playing with Sri Sai Baba. Among those children, Lakshman Parke, known as Lakshman Mama Joshi's son, Bapaji, was also present. Lakshman Mama Joshi's house was near Vittal Mandir. In fact, the first floor of Vittal Mandir temple is occupied by the family members of Lakshman Mama Joshi. Sri Sai Maharaj loved children, so he would play with them as that of a dear friend. At that moment, a cloth merchant carrying a basket on his head was passing through. Few people called him and were checking on the clothes he had for sale. He was mainly selling cloth for rumal. Rumal is like a turban that is tied around the head by the Maharashtrians. Kids were also curious to know what was in the basket, and they picked up the pieces of cloth and were playing with that. There was a red brocade piece. Bapaji liked it, but he had no money to buy it. The children were always fond of Sri Sai Baba. So, whenever they want something, they would come to him, and out of the love they had upon him, would take the liberty to ask whatever they need. So Bapaji came running and asked Sri Sai Baba if he can purchase that red piece of cloth. Sri Sai also agreed. Immediately, he picked up the cloth, tied it around his head. Sri Sai Maharaj was enjoying that sight and was playing with him. Bapaji was so excited that he removed that red piece of cloth from his head and placed it on Sri Sai Maharaj. All the children looked at it and screamed out in merriment. Now Sri Sai Baba tied it on Bapaji's head, and in turn he again placed it on Sri Sai Baba's head. This went on for some time. Sri Sai Maharaj pinched the cheeks of Bapaji affectionately. Dr. Vaman Rao was also witnessing this sport of Sri Sai with the children. Following which, the noon Arati commenced. As soon as the Arati was over, Dr. Vaman Rao returned to Satewada. The moment Nulkar saw him, with great curiosity, he asked what happened today at the masjid. Dr. Vaman Rao didn't give much significance to the fun Sri Sai had with the children. So he replied nothing special. Everything went on as usual in the masjid, and I conveyed your message to Sri Sai Baba. Nulkar was not satisfied with this reply, so he again asked his son to narrate everything that happened at the masjid without omitting any incident. Now, Dr. Vaman Rao narrated all the playful events that took place in Dwarkamai between Sri Sai Baba and the child Bapaji. As he was narrating the scenes that took place at Dwarkamai, Nolkar began to shed tears of joy. He was motionless and choked with emotions. Vaman Rao couldn't understand the reason behind this, so he asked him why he was crying and what was the reason behind these emotions. Nolkar replied, "Please tell Sri Sai Maharaj that I had his darshan. All the scenes that you have just narrated were shown to me while I was lying in the Vada. I saw a small boy placing a red jaswandi flower on Sri Sai Baba's head, which he took and placed it on the boy's head, and this fun activity continued among them for few minutes. Sri Sai Baba even pinched the cheeks of the boy fondly. Thus, the yearning of Nolkar to have Sri Sai Maharaj's darshan was fulfilled by him instantly. As days passed by, there were no signs of improvement in the health of Tatya Sahib Nolkar. Instead, it was deteriorating. During March 1911, he was almost at the final stage of his life. The situation was unbearable for Nolkar. One early morning, around 2 a.m., he called out to Vaman Rao and Neelkant and said that he wants to empty his bowls. Both took him to the restroom, and when it was over, they brought him back. They cleaned and bandaged his carbuncles. Nolkar was very restless and asked both his sons to sing bhajans. They brought the chipliks and sang bhajans. Hearing this, even other devotees staying in the Vada joined them. So, this went on for 1 to 2 hours. Around 5 a.m., he signaled them to stop the bhajan and said in a low tone to sing a famous bhajan that says, "O Lord, wait and stand before my eyes, and I see you new." At that moment, when Dr. Vaman Rao checked the pulse of his father, it was very low. So he tried to search for a syringe to inject a medicine, but unfortunately the syringe was broken, and that was the last syringe. But Tatya Sahib Nolkar was found to be in a very happy state, as though he was merging with the Supreme Lord. Then he told them to stop the bhajan and was lying quietly on the bed. Kaka Sahib Dikshit, Nolkar's wife, and few others were present there. Meantime, his younger son Vishwanath was sent to Radhakrishna Mai's home to ask for Sri Sai Maharaj's Padatirth. Did Nolkar drink the Padatirth of Shirdi Sai Baba? How did Nolkar attain Sadgati? All these intriguing leelas can be heard in the coming episode. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.